Alright, what is going on today, guys? In this video, I'm going to be doing a full fluid change. I'm doing the front differential, doing the transfer case, and I'll also be doing my transmission. As you guys know, 5-speed. I have an AX15, so we are going to be doing that. I am on the driver's side here. The fill plug is up here for the AX15. The drain plug is over here on the passenger side, right by the exhaust. The drain plug's right there, so depending on what year you have, you may have the I forgot what they call it. That's the not the slave cylinder. That may be the slave cylinder. I forget what that is exactly, but on the older style ones, that's internal. On this style, it's on the outside. So depending on what you have, you may be a little bit different setup. Actually, no, I think these are all on the outside. I may be wrong. But your fill plug's over here, right by your drive shaft, right around the area this thing is, and then your drain plug's over there. I would start with the fill plug in case you can't get it out. Well, at least you didn't drain all your fluid out, and now it's completely undrivable. So, you know, start with the fill plug. You know, put a pan underneath. You may get a little bit of leaks out, and you know, once a little bit leaks out from there, I would just tighten it back up a little bit, or you can just leave it loose, I guess, and then use the drain plug to get the rest out. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. Is a 15/16. Unfortunately, it's a 12-point. You really want to use a 6-point in this, but I mean, it is what it is. I don't have any other sockets that are fit that are 6 points, so I am going to be using a 12-point. Get my keys out of the way. I'm going to use a breaker bar just to break it free, and then I'll do the rest of the ratchet. But who knows how long this thing's been on here for? Probably on there pretty tight. Oh no, it actually broke free pretty easily. All right, cool. Well, I don't know exactly where it's gonna leak. Ooh. Alright, well, nothing came out of the fill plug. That's okay though, maybe it was a little low. I'll just put it back in there, I'm not gonna tighten it up. Alright, now let's get the drain plug out. Oh. Should we go on that side? One thing good about a lifted vehicle, I'm telling you guys, you can literally just move around in here like it's really not that big a deal. If it was a car, it would be a pain in the ass. There we go. Alright, cool. Get all this fluid out. I don't know where it's going to land. I guess we'll find out. Maybe I should put it this way in case it goes to shoot. Ooh. Well, that went nowhere near as smooth as I wanted it, but oh well, what are you gonna do? Alright guys, just check your drain plug too. It'll have a magnet on it. As you can see, mine is kinda got some crud on it. You know, it's got some crud on there. Good news is I don't see any big chunks. It's just more very I don't know, slushy, I guess metal type fluid in there. It's a little bit thicker. So my trans definitely has some wear in it since the last time it was changed, but I mean, it's a little bit thicker than I would. Sorry, I'm trying to clean the camera off. It's a little bit thicker than I would like, but I mean, as you can see, I mean, it's not that bad. There's really no like big metal chunks. It's just like metal fluid, so it's not that bad. I guess it's normal wear. But I decided to go with synchro mesh. I use this in my white Jeep, currently over there. This is the fluid that I used. I had pretty good luck with it. It is a GL3. If you look on here, Synchromesh MTF is a manual transmission fluid. I don't know if it's going to be blurry or not. Gear oil with API GL3 level performance. So in these transes, they have brass synchros. You do not want to use GL5. It's too hard on the brass metal and it will destroy your synchros. So either use GL3 or GL4 rated oil. Some people use regular motor oil like 10W30. Some people use gear oil. You can use Synchromesh. A lot of people run the Redline MT90. I use a Synchromesh because it's cheaper, and I've had pretty good luck with it. Like I said, I used it in my white Jeep, and it actually did improve my shifting a little bit compared to whatever fluid was in there originally. So, I mean, a trans shop that I go to, he recommends a Synchromesh in there. You know, I take his word for it. He knows what he's talking about, so. All right, now I want to show you guys how I'm actually filling up the trans fluid because I don't have a pump to pump in the fluid. I tried getting the bottle up in here to get the fluid in, but that wasn't working out. So my dad came up with the idea, we'll just get a long hose, run it from the engine bay, and fill it up that way. So we had made this contraption a couple months ago. I don't remember why. Oh, I had to do the, I added fluid to the transfer case in the white Jeep there, and I didn't have I couldn't get the bottle to go into the actual transfer case. So we made this a hose that we could just stick into the transfer case, and then it just screws right on top of fluids. You can screw it on top of here. It's pretty universal for transmission fluid, oil fluid. This will screw right on. So we got a hose, we drilled a hole in the cap, and that, you know, this works pretty well to fill up spots. As long as you can get the bottle in the area, you know, as long as there's enough room for the bottle, whatever you have, this will work fine. But in this situation, we could not get the bottle under there. I just, probably for 10 minutes, I was under there trying to get it, and it would not fit. So what we did is we used this, hook it up to the bottle of the transmission fluid that I'm using, the Synchromesh. We got a smaller tube that will fit inside of the transmission, and then we just shove it, you know, shove it in just like so. Make sure it's a little snug, and then you pour the transmission fluid in, and voila, it feeds it right through. So in case you don't have a pump and you want something a little bit cheaper, I don't know, this tire setup is probably like $4 or $5 for the whole entire setup. So in case you want to do it that way without buying a pump, I don't know the diameters of the hoses, but just get a hose that's, I don't know, is it a show? This is a 1/2 inch hose, 1/2 inch diameter hose, and then just get a hose that's a little bit smaller that will fit. This one is a 5/16, so you got a 1/2 inch and a 5/16 hose, and that's how you can fill up your trans fluid with the Synchromesh. There, just fill it up. All right, now, transfer case. You're going to want to use a 1 3/16. This is an impact socket, obviously. You know, it's just what I have right now. I don't have anything else that will work. But that's what you need. Once again, make sure you do the fill plug first. If you can get the fill plug out, you're good. Then take out the drain plug. So let's do that now. Now for the transmission, I don't know the torque specs on the bolts. I think it's like 30 foot-pounds or something, but I forgot my torque wrench. Just when you do it, make sure you just snug them down pretty good. You don't have to make them real tight, just make them snug. Make sure they're not leaking, you should be all right. So let's get on to this, and we'll change the fluid in the transfer case. This is the MP231, in case you were wondering which transfer case I do have. All right, now for the trans fluid that I'm using, the fluid that I'm using for the transfer case, it does take automatic transmission fluid. I went to Walmart. I just got the cheapest transmission fluid I could get, because transmission fluid doesn't really matter what type it is as long as it's just transmission fluid. I got the type F here, which is apparently for older like Ford transmissions, but whatever, I don't really care. It's transmission fluid, it will work. It was the cheapest one they had. Like I said, it doesn't really matter what trans fluid you put in there. As long as you just run ATF, you should be okay. Alright guys, I could have swore it took a little bit more than 1 quart, but my transfer case only took 1 quart of the fluid here, so maybe that's what these take. I don't know. Maybe yours is different than mine. That just seems to be what mine took. Alright, so the next step here to do your coolant, or fluids I should say, changing all your fluids, is we'll do coolant. Now I got myself a decent sized bucket here. Now if you go on the passenger side, there is a little drain cock, whatever they call it over here. I'm not going to use that. It takes forever draining it that way. I'm going to just remove the lower radiator hose. What you'll need is the pair of not vice grips, oh my god, I can't even think right now. Set of these, I can't think of the name of it, I'm sorry. You're probably gonna need a screwdriver too. Deadlocks. I'm probably gonna set a screwdriver to pop the hose off, and a set of these here. I'm sorry, I cannot think of the name of them. But we'll move all this out of the way. I probably can't do it one-handed, I'll try. Channel locks, there we go guys, channel locks, channel locks. But just try to get a grip on this. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this with one hand, I can't. So I'm gonna turn the camera off, but what we gotta do is just get your channel locks, squeeze these two together real tight. It will like pull the clamp apart, just slide it out of the way and then pop the hose right off and all the coolant will flow right out. Alright guys, and then all your coolant will drain out. As you can see, it's like a brownish color. So I don't know what the deal is, but mine's a little brown. But I popped the hose off here. You can see it all just pours out. You know, I also took this off. I dumped all the water in here. Just 2 bolts, bolt here, bolt there. It literally just comes right out. Just detach the hose, you can pull it right out. So it's good to try to clean this out too if you can. Just try to do everything all at once. Now this isn't like a true flush. There's still going to be some left in the motor, but it should be good enough. I mean, I've flushed it twice now, or drained the coolant twice. My coolant was originally brown and nasty like this. Changed it out. I put distilled water through it. That's what I was using, just distilled water. And now after probably about, like, I don't know, 100 miles doing it again, that's how it's coming out. But I'm just gonna put regular green coolant in it now. I think it'll be all right. And real easy to fill it up. Obviously, you put this. Make sure before you fill it up, you put the hose back on. So I'll do that. Get this hose on. Try to get some more of his water out. All right, now you're gonna want to let it run for a little bit. Get up the temperature. I put my heat on. Put the heat on, it will flow a little bit better. You gotta get up the temperature. Once you get up the temperature, your thermostat will open up, and then you can, you know, it will actually flow through the system. I overfilled the radiator a little bit. You can see it keeps leaking out, but it's fine. Just put the bucket underneath here. A little bit will leak out. Just, you'll see it once the thermostat opens up, it will suck the water in. And then at that point, you keep topping it off. Make sure your overflow gets filled up. You know, the overflow will get filled up. We'll top that off last, but like I said, just let it run. It's got to flow through the system. The thermostat has to open up and, you know, suck it in. All right, now you're gonna want to let it run for a little bit. Get up the temperature. I put my heat on. Put the heat on, it will flow a little bit better. You gotta get up the temperature. Once you get up the temperature, your thermostat will open up, and then you can, you know, it will actually flow through the system. I overfilled the radiator a little bit. You can see it keeps leaking out, but it's fine. Just put the bucket underneath here. A little bit will leak out. Just, you'll see it once the thermostat opens up, it will suck the water in. And then at that point, you keep topping it off. Make sure your overflow gets filled up. You know, the overflow would get filled up. We'll top that off last, but like I said, just let it run. It's got to flow through the system. The thermostat has to open up and, you know, suck it in. All right, just like that, guys. See how it sucked right in? Once it sucks in like that, start putting more coolant in and let it flow through. Alright, and the last thing you're going to want to do when you're doing the coolant is just drive it around for a little while. That's what I did. I probably took it on like a 10-minute drive of that. Make sure it wasn't overheating. If it does go to overheat for whatever reason, you know, pull over to the side of the road. You may have to add some coolant. But if you do, make sure you use a rag or something. Make sure you use a rag or something when you open this up, because otherwise you're going to squirt everywhere. You can burn yourself. So just be very careful doing that. But I mean, that's pretty much it. Just keep an eye on the coolant level. I still need to add some coolant. You're probably going to have to... Oh, I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to hold this hood up and move around. As you can see, maybe you can't see. No, I guess you're not going to be able to tell, but the coolant isn't quite where it's supposed to be. It's a little low. I'm gonna have to add some, but it's still hot out there just driving it. But I'll probably add some in like an hour or so. I'll come out, open up the cap, top it off again. Just keep topping it off until it actually is good to go. I didn't completely fill this up, the reservoir, but I could tell it did take a little bit out of the reservoir. So I'm gonna add more to the reservoir and add more to the radiator. Just keep doing that until it's filled up. You should be good to go. Alright, now for the front diff. Now, I have an aftermarket front diff here, so your bolts and whatever else may be different, but my situation, the fill plug is a, I don't even know what size this thing is, 5/8 or something, I don't even know, Allen wrench, so just gotta pop that off there. And for my bolts, it is a 13mm for all the bolts. So, yours may be different. Fortunately, I don't know if that's the same for the stock, but on my front diff cover, that's what I have to use in order to get this off. But there's a few bolts. I'm sure the bolts are the same. It's probably just the fill plug that would be different for mine compared to yours. All right, we'll start taking this off. Alright, I finally got it off, guys. I don't know if it's this diff cover, I'm pretty sure it is. I'm kind of not happy with it, but these last bottom bolts here, regardless of the dirt or not, I literally had a hammer on the socket, so I don't know what the deal was with that. All the top ones came off, no problem. Bottom was a pain, and it was really sealed on there, so I had to just whack it off with a screwdriver here, screwdriver and a hammer, and just keep hitting the corner until eventually I was able to break the seal. But got the fluid out. All I gotta do is take this top bolt out now. Alright, I got the RTV on. What you do is just put a little, I guess I could have filmed it, but it's easy enough. Use a little RTV, rather use the red or blue, doesn't matter. Just your silicone around the diff cover. Make sure when you do it, you put the cover on you do not get anything on your, internals. Don't get on the ring gear, nothing like that. Make sure you keep that RTV stuff completely out of there as best you can. Don't get it on anything. Just go around the edges. Make sure you get a nice thick coating around the whole entire edge. You don't need clumps and clumps, but just a nice thin line going across the whole entire thing on the inside of the bolts. Don't do the outside because then it squirts out more. Do it on the inside of the bolts. I should have shown it, but I was trying to just focus on getting the cover back on. It's really as simple as that. I just put the bolt in, I held it on, I had to move it around a little bit, put the bolt in. I got another bolt over here just securing it in place. What I'll do is I'll put all the bolts in now. I'm not going to tighten it. I'm going to let the RTV dry for like 10 minutes. Tighten the bolts all the way up, and should be good to go. And then we'll fill it up, and that should be the end here of changing all the fluids here. Another quick thing for the front diff, it took about 1.5 quarts. So one of these and then half a bottle. That's roughly around what it took. So